Isaac, who is at university, at Oxford University, and we're finding out all about how he's using TextAid when he's studying. So welcome, Isaac. Thanks for joining us. And,
Thanks for having me.
So what course are you studying?
So I am now in my third year of philosophy, politics and economics at Oxford.
Wow, that's a lot of reading. A lot of studying, very highbrow topics there. And you're in your third year, so has it gone well so far? I assume your third year is really, really hard work.
So my exam structure is there are no exams until the end of third year.
Wow.
It is entirely just 8 3-hour exams in a sort of 2-week period. It's just everything's on that. So it's very much sort of heavy towards the end. I wouldn't say the workload changes that much year to year because it's very hard from the start, I guess. I think they very much go with the attitude of if you make it difficult from first year, it then means that when you're in third year, it isn't too much of a sort of jump in difficulty. You can't deal with it. It gives you that time to prepare, get used to it.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I'm glad I'm not having to do all that studying. But hey, it'll be worth it in the end, won't it?
Let's hope.
And are you thinking of carrying on your studies, or are you going to graduate and then work? Or do you know, you don't know yet? Or...
I'll apply for a master's.
Right.
Whether I'll get on is another thing, and they're also very expensive, which means unless I can get some form of bursary or scholarship, it's not going to happen. But a bit of me just wants to avoid sort of the real world, getting a job for as long as possible. So hiding education would be a nice way of doing that.
Yeah, it's still work though, doing all that studying. So when you applied to go to university, you applied for the DSA at the same time, did you? Or did you wait until you were there and then were told about it? So how did you know?
So
you could?
I found out about it once I got to uni. So I first went to a GP about having ADHD when I was 16, and then sort of battled my way through the various queues and systems and got diagnosed sort of halfway through year 13. And then I just sort of got on with my exams that didn't end up happening. So preparing for those exams, just planned to do them as usual, and then got to uni and found out about the sort of additional support at that point.
Wow. So you just struggled through without any support when you were doing A levels?
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow. And got into Oxford Uni. That's impressive. So then you got to uni, you found out about the DSA, filled in the form, and then how quick was it between doing that bit and then having an assessment and then getting a laptop, and whether you got a laptop or not, and assistive technology to help?
So through a mix of cues and sort of personal incompetence, took all of first year to get assessed, and then the first term of second year to then get given stuff.
Wow.
A bit of that's definitely on me. I got lost in the system, I guess. I wasn't entirely sure what I should be doing when I should be doing it. But at the same time, it was just a case of there was a large waiting list. It felt a bit odd because I'd already been diagnosed with ADHD.
Yeah.
Doctor. So to then have to go have another diagnosis by someone that wasn't a doctor to then allow me to have it felt a bit clunky at times. Eventually, I managed to get through various things, fill out all the right bits of paperwork, and make my way to the end goal.
Yeah. So do you find with your ADHD, is it organizational skills that are a challenge for you, which is why it took so long? Or...
There's a beautiful irony to the fact that to get diagnosed with ADHD, they make you do pages and pages of paperwork and things like that, which is sort of the whole issue.
Yeah.
all these forms and remembering to do them and trying to sort of dig my way through the various who I should be contacting about what forms I need to fill in. That is the sort of the main thing my ADHD makes harder, which is then also the main thing that I need to do to get the diagnosis or the support.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Wow. So then you had your assessment. Did you get a laptop?
no, they said my laptop was already okay. It was a bit weird. My laptop's good but old.
Oh, right.
So it was old enough to get me a new laptop, but
Yeah.
they giving me a new laptop, it would be worse than my current laptop.
Oh.
So I got a bit bamboozled with that and ended up just keeping my old one. It's fine.
Yeah. So you didn't get a laptop, but you got some assistive technology.
Yes.
And did you get anything else?
I got a printer. I got
Right.
Assistive technology, and I got anything that was needed to make that assistive technology work.
Right. And so did you get training?
Yes, I got
Yeah.
I got an hour of training, I think.
Oh, just 1 hour. That's not very long, is it?
No.
So you went to your training, or did you do it online? I suppose
Online.
it was online because it was COVID times.
Nobody, I presume, yeah.
Yeah. And so during the training session, what happened?
Most of the time was spent just downloading the various bits of software, finding the licensing keys, the activation keys, getting it all just onto my laptop so it worked.
Yeah.
There was too much time to sort of go through everything and give an explanation. It was a get it on your laptop, really brief summary of what it does, move on kind of thing, because there just wasn't enough time to sort of go through each one in the detail we all deserve.
And I suppose you were busy thinking about all your assignments and then the social side of being at uni to then think, oh, well, how am I going to use all this assistive technology to help me? I may as well just get on with it without, because you've already struggled through a year of uni, I guess.
Yeah, the awkwardness of when I got it, I think it would apply to everyone, to be fair, but there's no time in university that's easy or there's nothing going on. Even when workloads are low, that normally means social pressures are high. So you always feel like there's something you should be doing.
Oh.
Then having to take time to attempt to learn bits of software is a hard thing to do, especially independently. I think if it was at training time, it becomes easier. But sort of sitting down and just trying to sort of work through these various bits of tech, it's very easy to think the costs here outweigh the benefits. I'm just going to sort of continue as usual, because for most people, if they've got from being born to 18 without using these things, it's very easy to sort of think, do I really need them now? Most people will see a value in having these things, but not necessarily the correct value. And therefore it's a lot easier to go, I've survived without them. They look bamboozling. I'm going to carry on without them, rather than, okay, I'm going to have to take the hours to work this out.
Yeah. But you use ReadSpeaker TextAid, don't you?
Yes.
But you don't use any other assistive technology?
No.
Wow. And so why is it that you're using TextAid?
Because it is unbelievably simple to get your head around. It doesn't try to do too much. It is very much point and shoot, put something in it, click listen, and then it goes, which means it's very easy to see the value it brings. And I said for the other ones, these things probably have a lot of value.
Yeah.
Maybe a lot to them that if you can work it out and get used to it, they can make a massive difference.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily obvious what that value is. So then it's a lot easier to go, I'm just not willing to invest the time in this.
Yeah.
Whereas it is literally just 15 seconds before you can work out the basic features. First time I got it, I just started, I think beans was the first word I wrote. I wrote the word beans, press listen, and it just said beans. And at that point, the fundamental feature of it is done. There are more bits to it that I've sort of worked out with time, but because the fundamental feature was so simple to get my head around and worked sort of to its maximum capacity straight away, that I was willing to sort of keep going and just keep using it, and then have since sort of clocked onto the other bits.
Yeah. So you use it because it goes in better when you hear words read to you. Is that the reason why you use TextAid? Or
I have an unbelievable quantity of reading to do on a weekly basis, probably in the thousands of pages, sort of it's low thousands, I think, which means it's a lot to read, and spending 8 hours a day just staring at pages and trying to read them, if you've got ADHD and struggle to concentrate, not going to happen.
Yeah, you may as well not read it.
It's just not doable. What TextAid allows me to do is just vary up the mediums. So stopping between reading and listening works well because it's just different styles, gets things, just keeps you alert.
Yeah.
Reading is active, whereas listening is passive. I have to be consciously reading, and then when I can't concentrate anymore, I then do something else.
Right. Yeah.
Listening, I just press play, and it does a lot of it for me. It doesn't require the concentration because it is just happening by itself.
Yeah.
Don't want to be listening to it. It's still going to be being played, which makes it a lot easier to sort of just stay engaged with it, because there's no way me just going, I'm bored now, let's stop. I have to really sort of stop it playing, compared to just reading where it's just start sort of, you just switch off.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know you listen incredibly quickly, don't you? Speed.
So it has.
You want to share your screen and play it so that we can hear how crazy fast you have it.
There have been as many failures. Perhaps the best solution to the problem of political obligation is giving up. In this essay, I will set up the problem of political obligation, show how the major state.
So yeah, it's quite fast. It gets text covered quickly. I can get through content at a decent speed, whilst also sort of being able to listen to it rather than read.
Do you change the color of the highlighting or anything, or you it doesn't really matter what color it's highlighting? Or
for me, doesn't matter too much. I'm able to sort of get on with it. I know other people like the different highlights, but I'm just happy with how it is.
Yeah. So you've got different documents, are they, or do you paste the text in, or what do you do? How do you use it? Do you go to the library and add every document you've got to read, or what?
So for me, as I sort of said, the main problem is concentration. And when I click on a document and it's 40, 50, 100 pages long, it's very easy to just get demoralized and go, this is going to take forever. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
One of the main ways of getting around that is just breaking it down to small chunks. And what that means is getting a text, copying and pasting a paragraph or a page or a couple of pages, and just pasting them in here.
Yeah.
It means that instead of it being, I have to spend 6 hours reading this book, it's, I have to spend 2 minutes listening to this, and then I just rinse and repeat that. And it makes it feel a lot more like smaller, more manageable tasks rather than the sort of longer project.
So it doesn't feel so overwhelming when you just break it down and just listen to that bit.
Yeah. It's okay, I press play, let's concentrate through this bit, and then just sort of rinse and repeat that rather than sort of an overwhelming wall of text that goes on for days and days.
Yeah. Do you annotate onto that document, or do you do something separately, or what while you're listening?
So I personally use a separate document for annotating. So I have 2 screens, which means I would have TextAid on one side and then Word document on the other. So the main reasons for that is if I am having to write out notes myself. One, I think it goes in better if I'm having to sort of listen through it and then reword it. I think it helps me sort of, if I'm having to put the ideas into my own words, it shows that at least it's gone in my head somewhere.
Definitely.
It also reduces the risk of plagiarism. If I put notes on a document or on just onto this, for example, and then later down the line forget sort of whether these were my words or straight from it, that can be, if I know it's all just my personal retyping of it, that helps. The other thing is if I've got 30 articles to read all relating to one topic, it's useful to just have them all under a document for that topic, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's all together.
It's just grouping them all together in one Word document rather than having them sort of scattered about across lots of different pages of notes or lots of different annotations on various things. As well, when I'm doing copy stuff in, listen, delete, copy stuff in, it means that annotations don't necessarily work brilliantly with that strategy.
Yeah. So are all those documents things that you've pasted in, or are any of them like that you've uploaded actually into your account?
So that's pasted, that's uploaded, that's uploaded, that's uploaded.
I see. Yeah, because there's lots of pages to that.
Yes, this has got 11 and this has got 44.
And do you ever use text mode to change the background color or the spacing and font style, or do you stick to layout mode?
I overwhelmingly use text mode.
Right.
I don't know why. It just reads easier to me, or just looks nicer, I guess.
Yeah, so you
standardized
changed the font, hasn't it?
It shrinks it, it changes the font, it just becomes sort of standardized and more readable.
Yeah.
Layout mode. Obviously I can zoom in and out, but it's a lot more scattered, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Bits all over the place that they just sort of get in the way.
Yeah. It's interesting that, because I always assume that people will use text mode mainly to change the background color, but you don't, do you? You keep it as a white background, but you change the font size and style.
Yeah, so I don't have any need to change the background color. I know some people do, but it's never been something that bothered me. For me, it's simply just, if I look at this versus that, I just find that easier on my eyes.
Yeah, and it's what works for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you use any of the other tools in TextAid, or you just use it to read fast?
So like these tools here.
Right, yeah.
So I use the page mask quite a bit. I think what it means is that I have to at least it encourages me to be engaged with what I'm listening to, because I have to keep this on the bit of text it's doing. If without this, it's more easy to sort of just zone out a bit more. So it's by adding that sort of bit of engagement of let's keep this on what I'm actually listening to, it sort of keeps me sort of paying attention to it.
Yeah, you can process what it's saying more because you're having to look at that bit of the screen.
It just sort of concentrates what's going on, the bit that I need. The ruler does a very similar thing. I prefer the mask because it just hides everything, whereas it sort of blocks a bit of it.
Are you using, what are you using, a Windows laptop or a MacBook or what?
This is Windows laptop.
And do you always do all your work on your laptop?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, you do it all. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, fab. Do you do anything? Do you like ever download as audio or anything?
I didn't initially, and I wouldn't do it for reading things.
I suppose because you like the fact that you're listening and looking, and that helps you, doesn't it?
It's doing both at once. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're just listening, maybe you're going to go in so much.
What I do use it for is revision. So when I take notes, I'm taking them because at some point I will need them for my exams. And then eventually if I've learned it at the start of my second year, the odds of it still being in my head by the end of third year aren't particularly high. So I need to sort of fresh on it.
Yeah.
There'll be times where I do proper dedicated focused revision and I'm sat and I'm working. But there are other times where I'm in a car for 3 hours or something like that. And I want to be able to just do something productive that doesn't require too much effort. And that's where the downloads MP3 comes in. So I will take my notes on a topic, put them in, turn them to an MP3 file, stick them on phone, and then can listen to them just as I'm doing things out and about, just getting on with my life kind of thing.
Yeah.
It allows for sort of very easy, flexible revision.
Yeah. Brilliant. Do you do web reading? Like, yeah, do you ever have some reading that you have to go to a website to read that, or is it always papers that you have to read and books and things?
It's mainly PDFs. So a lot of academic articles where you go onto a page like this.
I see, yeah.
And then you can just view PDF, get a PDF of it.
Yes.
Then I've always just gone drag, copy and paste in.
Yes, into your account.
Into it. Once again, mainly just for the nice sort of breaking down of it into bite-sized chunks.
Yeah, that's really good. It's so interesting to see how you use it. Because I'm always demonstrating that every week. I'm demonstrating how it can be used. I do use it myself sometimes, especially for proofreading. But it's so interesting to see a different way, a way that other people use it, and it's some things are the same, some things you don't bother with one tool, whereas I would use it, and it's so interesting. This.
The proofreading is another good point, actually. Whenever I finish an essay or what I deem as finished, I will then get in this and listen to it, because when you've been looking at the same essay for a while, your eyes, your brain just sort of roll over mistakes, whereas this will read them as mistakes, and then you go, that doesn't sound right, and then spot things like that.
Oh wow!
It allows for quite effective proofreading.
Do you if you could have your time again, you're just about to, well, you're doing your A levels maybe next year, hopefully going to university, so rewind a few years. Is there anything you'd say to yourself about assistive technology or your time at uni that you do differently because of what you know now?
Commit to it at the start.
Oh.
There is a reason this technology exists, and there is a reason you get given it. And yes, it may seem a lot of effort initially, but 3 years is a long time, and something that makes every day for the next 3 years 1% easier, actually massive amount of value over that time. As I sort of said earlier, it's about seeing the value that assistive technology can bring.
Yeah.
If I can work this out, what is it providing me with? What is the actual benefit to me? And understanding that value is then what motivates the sort of desire to learn it. As I said, TextAid, it's very easy to understand the value it provides. Instantly, you can sort of get your head around it. Whilst for all of them, a trainer or a salesperson can tell you what it is, personal experience of sort of having that makes so much more of a difference to someone telling you it can do that. So the quicker you can actually experience some of that value to yourself, the quicker you sort of buy into it and then keep going with it. If it's I have it for a month and it's for that month a negative to me, but then I get good enough that it becomes a positive, it's unlikely you're going to go, yeah, I'll use it.
Yeah, that's true.
You sort of get into that benefit. That's when it's sort of momentum based, and then you get the sort of exponential upwardness of learning all the other ways it benefits you because you just continue to use it more and more.
Yeah, so it's totally thinking about how it will change the way you study and make a difference, not actually what it does, but how it's going to help.
Yeah.
Really.
It's,
and keeping it simple. It's just, I just want something that reads text to me, or I just want something that makes records lectures or creates a simple mind map or whatever it is that you want to do. Because we're all different in the way we learn, aren't we?
I think there's nothing wrong with having more complicated bits of technology. It just needs to communicate the sort of value it has quickly. In terms of, I know full well, if I learned to code supercomputers, I'd get a job that would pay me loads of money.
Yes.
Learning to code supercomputers is going to be difficult. So it's, what can this give me and how easily can it give me it, I think is really important.
Yeah, because things like Word, you don't need training on using Word, do you? Or PowerPoint or sending emails or anything like that. You just, it's intuitive, isn't it? And you just figure it out yourself and use it, and it makes a big difference. And I suppose assistive technology needs to be like that, so it's going to be used.
In day-to-day life, the technology that is used widely, the things that everyone uses, are intuitive.
Yeah.
If someone can pick them up and just get on with this. There are bits of technology that require more skill, as I said, supercomputers, but even things like Photoshop or things like that.
Yeah.
There is a learning curve to them, but the people that learn to do that already have an interest in doing that. You start learning Photoshop because you want to learn to Photoshop.
Definitely.
Whereas I think with assistive technologies, you sort of need to be realistic about the fact that people won't necessarily have that internal motivation to do it. When I got given all this technology, it wasn't, I want to be able to do this. I don't have a sort of massive desire to do, sort of learn it.
Yeah.
It's to sort of get its value across to me, because sort of my internal motivations won't get me that far.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Well, it's so great that it's making a big difference to all those thousands of words you have to read each week and helping you get through your degree. Oh, it's been so interesting. If you're watching this, because it's been recorded, so if you're watching a recording of this and you want to ask Isaac a question about being a student and using assistive technology, particularly TextAid, just get in touch and I'll pass your questions on to him, and we'll find out more. It's been so interesting. I've loved having a chat with you, Isaac, and find out all about what life is like as a student. It was a long time ago I was at uni, so things have changed, and yeah, it's been brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.